Welcome to Awakening You channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Good morning dear Jesus. Thank you very much for your last message. It is nice to be communing with you once again after the long summer break that I took. I seem to be more at peace, more content, more relaxed than I was earlier in the summer, so I hope I have released most of what was blocking our channel or leaving me unmotivated to be open to you, or even positively not wanting to channel your loving and inspiring messages. So, if you are available, can we please start a new one? Jesus, a very good morning to you, John. Yes, I am most definitely available to commune with you. I am always available, so never hesitate to call on me. As my task, my duty, my loving service is to be available to all who call on me. Relax for just a moment, then we can start. As I keep telling you, keep on hammering into you, all are one. The state of separation from one another that appears to be the human condition is illusory, even though it seems so real to you all. When God created you, He gave you everything that He is: infinite unconditional love, and also therefore the absolute freedom, free will, that is one of its innumerable loving aspects, because love just loves without conditions, eternally setting you free while at the same time maintaining you in a state of oneness with itself. Within the illusion, as humans, that seems to be a very paradoxical and confusing idea, because the illusion you constructed was intended to allow you to experience separation, and so the sense or state of oneness had to be hidden, cloaked, or disguised. In freedom you chose to establish an illusory state of limitation, of separation from God and therefore from yourself. Real separation is not possible because there is only one God and you eternally engaged in an infinitely loving embrace that can never be broken. It really is that simple. All that you humanity have to do is open yourselves to your natural state, the state in which you were created and which you have never left, but which you have chosen to hide from yourselves under a cloak of darkness. As an allegory, you can think of the illusion as dark clouds that can obscure the sun. But, the sun is always there, and although the clouds will dissipate, it seems that whether or not you can see the sun depends on fickle weather patterns flowing across the planet and over which you have no control. However, the clouds hiding reality from you are of your own making, and only you can dissolve them. When you open to love, they dissolve. Most of you have experienced moments of intense love when the radiance of the moment has shone briefly through the clouds of fear that mostly envelop you. But you have considered those moments an aberration, a lucky meeting of minds or bodies when you inadvertently let your guard down and experienced a brief moment of ecstasy. Often, before you have reset your guard, you have been hurt or betrayed by another, proving to you that love invariably leads to pain and suffering. As you mature, or age, that safety barrier becomes ever more firmly established between you and the world outside to protect you from the inevitable attacks and betrayals that you know are just waiting to breach it. And yet, you see others, maybe only a very few, who do not install those barriers to protect themselves from the dangers surrounding them. They enjoy being vulnerable. You dismiss their behavior as insane, especially if you see them apparently under attack or being betrayed. But it still puzzles you because despite these attacks and betrayals they remain at peace. Well, the reason for that is that to be vulnerable makes you invulnerable. To be offended is a choice you have to make. Offensive behavior can only offend you if you choose to be offended. And those loving souls who do not hide behind protective psychological barriers with their emotions safely locked away have not only realized this, but have also discovered that to be loving attracts others who are loving into their personal space, adding to their peace and contentment. To reiterate, from your perspective, to be vulnerable appears to make it very likely that you will be taken advantage of and hurt, but in fact the opposite is the case. Being vulnerable is being openly loving, being absolutely non-threatening, and while it might appear that that is a very dangerous state to maintain, it in fact draws to you others who are willing and desirous of being loving. To live in such a state dissolves fear and anxiety and allows you to behave in the most appropriate way in every moment, because the Holy Spirit is guiding your every thought, word, and action. It is a most relaxed and powerful way to go through life. It will not obliterate pain and suffering, but it will ensure that you are not overwhelmed when experiencing them. Life in the illusion is painful, and suffering is unavoidable, but how you respond in each situation is a choice you are always free to make. Often you react out of habit, instead of seeing each moment as independent of previous moments, and so you keep on repeating painful experiences, seeing them as imposed on you by a vicious world or a punishing God, and seeing yourselves as helpless victims in a very unsafe environment. This is never the case. Each one of you is following a life path that you planned prior to incarnating as a human with the loving guidance and assistance of your mentors in the spiritual realms, or, if you prefer, you may see it as guidance from God, the Holy Spirit, or the Divine Mother. The life path you are on is not random. Everything that occurs during your life has a purpose, either for you directly, or for someone with whom you have a relationship, either long-term or only momentary. Nothing is accidental. Your task on earth is to learn each lesson that you placed upon your path as it arises. If you do not, then it will arise again, possibly in a slightly different form, until eventually awareness dawns on you and you do learn it. The lessons can be rather painful in order to catch your attention, but once learned do not need repeating. A lesson newly learned brings a sense of peace and contentment, and leads to a greater willingness to accept life as it unfolds, because you then realize that indeed everything does have a purpose, which is far easier to see when you accept it instead of fighting against it. In the spiritual realms you have guides and mentors watching over you constantly, ready and waiting for you to ask them for assistance, which they will then most graciously and willingly provide, but only when you ask. To assist before you asked would be an invasion of your personal energy field, an overriding of your free will, and none in the spiritual realms, not even God himself, would do that. But as soon as you ask, we are there for you, because we love you and we do not want to see you suffering. So, today's message is basically a reiteration of the fact that there is only love, all else is illusory, and that we in the spiritual realms are watching over you constantly and ready to assist you instantly when you call on us. Therefore, please call on us for assistance with even the smallest or seemingly most insignificant of issues, because it is our joy and our duty to serve you in any way that we can. Your loving brother, Jesus.